Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Positive Girl podcast with me, Sabrina. This is the show that will help you become your best self. And today we are talking about 7 lies we tell ourselves every day. But before we jump into that, as always, I want to invite you to come say hi to me on social media. I am at Sabrina Joy Perozzo on both TikTok and Instagram. So come say hi over there. You're also welcome to send me an email to realpositivegirlpodcast@gmail.com. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, prayer requests, feedback, topics, suggestions, again, you can share those with me on social media, on email. If you do want to suggest a topic suggestion for the show, but you want to do it anonymously, there is a link in the show notes below for you to submit a topic anonymously. Another anonymous thing you can do that's available in the show notes below is to submit a doesn't have to be quick, it can be whatever you want, vent session. So sometimes we don't have people that are emotionally available for us to vent to in our lives, or we just don't have anyone we trust. And so I wanted to open up somewhere for people to anonymously write down and type in a quick, not quick. Why do I keep saying quick? It's like, it might feel quick to you because you're able to just get it off your chest really quick without anyone interrupting you, but it's just a form where you fill out the venting, and I don't know who you are, and I just check over it, and I usually will just pray and, have positive thoughts over what you're talking about, and at least you're able to get it off your chest, and I will never know it's you, so it just feels like, you're able to just move on with whatever's going on with your life. So check out the show notes below for links for all of those things, weekly newsletter, all kinds of stuff. But let's go ahead and jump right into today's episode, which again is 7 lies we tell ourselves every day. So because we filter in so many experiences, opinions, ideas, thoughts, all the things that just, bam, hit us in the face every day, depending upon what we're going through, we end up holding onto thoughts and beliefs that aren't for us and aren't true. And it's important that I wanted to distinguish the fact by saying that they aren't for us, because sometimes, experiences and beliefs and thoughts and whatever, they could be really helpful for someone else. When they are in that certain season of life, that stage of life, they are dealing with those certain struggles and transformations. But if you're not dealing with those things and you do not need those beliefs and thoughts and whatever it is, then it's not for you. And it's just not true to who you are and what you're going through in your life right now, in the current season that you're in, right? In the current season that you are kind of taking in and digesting all of those different experiences, opinions, ideas, all of those things. And we can develop beliefs based on what other people believe and share with us, right? So if we overhear or we get to know someone and they share their beliefs with us and just tell us what they think, or we find out someone's beliefs and maybe we look up to them, or we kind of are jealous or envious of how their life's going, what they have in their life. And it's oh, well, maybe I should just adopt their beliefs, or they're telling me their beliefs. Maybe that means I should just take them on because they seem like they have a great life. You know what I mean? Just kind of be you're grasping at straws at this point where you're just okay, I'm just going to change everything in my life because their life seems on point and mine is not, and I need to do something. But we can also develop beliefs based on other people's, again, opinions, judgments, but also the difficult experiences that we go through, right? If we go through really hard times and, it just kind of it leads to us just maybe not having as much hope or belief in people being good and nice, or maybe we will struggle with our own Christian beliefs and faiths, and maybe we will develop serious, deep trust issues, and a lot of these things will get lodged in our hearts and in our minds, and so difficult experiences can definitely be one of the biggest and the most common places for our beliefs to kind of foster and grow and just become what they are for me, or for you and for all of us. And, it's important to know that not everything that filters into our brain is true or just not true for us. Again, it could definitely be true for someone else that you know, or just someone else completely that you don't know, but maybe you overheard something and you're oh, I'm going to take that for me, as opposed to really being more focused and patient on the lessons and opportunities and opinions that are for you. You know what I mean? I just feel like a lot of times we can be in a situation where we think that what someone is saying to someone else, you're like, oh, yeah, that's totally me. And I feel like a lot of times things that resonate with us, we're like, yeah, yeah, that's important for me too. But other times we're, again, grasping at straws. We are trying to find a reason or some sort of way to go to follow because we feel lost. We feel like the things that we're currently doing are not working. And we are willing to jump into anything and everything, which is it's a dangerous game to play. But yeah, so it could be true for someone else for sure, but not for you. But we easily absorb things. You know how they say like kids are sponges, like their brains are sponges and they just like absorb so much knowledge. I feel like as kids, young adults, we absorb beliefs and thoughts and ideas and opinions and judgments and all these things as easily as children absorb knowledge when they're growing up. It's just crazy. I think it's absolutely bonkers how easily we can just absorb all these things and then, with no actual, I don't know, system, just decide what we're going to believe and what we're not going to believe and then move on with our lives. It just seems kind of ludicrous sometimes, you know what I mean? And I'm even speaking about myself, like, why in the world would I allow that to become a belief? But yeah, so we absorb things, we make it our own truths, and don't take enough moments to reflect on whether these beliefs are still benefiting us. A lot of times, we will establish a belief and a thought and a value in how we're going to live our life and in these things that we keep with us as we go about our everyday. And we think that since it was adopted into our mindset as a belief or like a value, that or someone that we look up to and really trusted, led us to that knowledge and then we decided to absorb it, we think that, oh, we don't need to reflect on it. We don't need to like decide if that is still true to us because it should be true forever. But I would absolutely disagree. I think it's important for us to challenge our beliefs to make sure that we aren't just buying into things for the sake of, being able to say that that's your belief and that's what you do and that's your value and that's how you live your life. You need to actually make sure that it resonates with your internal like desires and the future that you currently have planned for yourself and how you want to live your life truly, really trying to understand, is this going to work for me? Is this best for me right now in this season? Because a lot of times our lives can be so different depending upon what season of our life we're in and what we're dealing with, right? What are we struggling? What are we battling? So just something to keep in mind that I'm not saying you have to throw all your beliefs out the window and start again. I'm just saying you should kind of reflect and be like, okay, is this still true for me? Is this something that doesn't feel like it's real anymore? How can I, challenge this, figure out if this is still something that means a lot to me, those kind of things, where you deep dive into reflecting, oh, are these beliefs still benefiting me? Are these things still serving me? Even if it's not, but you're like, okay, but it's just not doing it right now in this season, and that's okay. Okay, keep it. But if it's not, and you're like, it hasn't, and you have new information, new knowledge, and you're like, it just won't, then you can let it go, right? It's just back and forth with yourself. But something else we do, when we are adopting a mindset, our beliefs and values, is we adopt false beliefs because it worked for us in the past. And I was thinking deeply because, of course, if you look online, there's going to be a lot of different ways where people talk about how we lie to ourselves and how we just, so many things are filtered in our brains. But I wanted to really make sure that I pointed out the fact that we can adopt a lot of these false beliefs because we think that it worked for us in the past. And we're like, oh, well, history dictates that this was really good for me and I would like it to be at least that good again. Let's just double down on what worked before, which just in the generality of life, that doesn't really work for most of life. Just because something worked then doesn't mean it's going to work now or it's going to work again in the future. But it also doesn't mean that it's not going to work, or because it didn't work one time, then it won't work a million times later, right? You know what I mean? So that's not like a hard and fast rule. It's just like, okay, you try it, you figure out, and then you decide, Should you keep doubling down, or should you just move on for a little bit and come back to it later? But yeah, we do adopt a lot of false beliefs because we're like, oh, well, it worked for us before, or it worked for that person before, right? We live our life with this belief that seemed to, work for us then because a lot of other things were working out. So it seemed to correlate. It seemed to correlate like with our life was going so well, and we had these same beliefs and values, okay, and thoughts. You're just like, okay, great. This is what we should have forever because it seems to be working out. And that's just where a lot of us get in trouble, to be honest with you, by holding firm to beliefs and lies that aren't actually helping us, but instead hurting us. And it's quite amazing. I even think about this for myself, how much we can get involved and just all caught up in things that aren't helping us and actually hurting us. But we don't see it that way. We see it as, oh yeah, it's helping. It's helping. It's just not helping right now. Or it did help before and it'll help again later. And this is kind of a tangent, but I'll make it quick. Think about how patient we can be with these false beliefs that we come up with. We're like, oh, don't worry. It worked before. It'll work again. And you just continue to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait for it to work. And it doesn't work. And you have all the patience in the world for that. But if you're talking about doing anything else that you're like, oh yeah, that, it just takes time to work on this, that, and the other. Patience is like nowhere to be seen. She's gone. She's fled the building. It's not there. It's not there. So it's just something to think about. Like, our patience is impeccable when we are so wrapped up in believing false beliefs because it worked before. But if we embark on like a new opportunity, journey, or whatever it is, and we have to continue to put in the work, and we haven't seen the fruit of that wow, we haven't seen the fruit of that labor yet. So we have a hard time continuing to be patient and pushing through so that we will have that proof that, yes, I did the right thing. Yes, this was a good choice. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just crazy. But yeah, so we get all caught up in these beliefs and lies that aren't helping us, but actually hurting us. And I wanted to point out that if you would like to learn more about how to confront the fact that not every thought we have is true and that, our mind will lie to us sometimes because of everything that's filtered in and out, I think you should listen to the recent episode 426, which I believe was like only 3 episodes back from this one. And it talks all about it. And it gives you, I think I did 5 tips on how to, not let those things not let your mind lie to you and not believe every single thought that comes through your brain. So consider that if you want to learn more about that as well. But today we are going to dive into a few lies that we tell ourselves on the regular because these have been adopted as beliefs. And beliefs are the most convincing thoughts, I believe. When we integrate and say that we're going to adopt and have beliefs and values, they're so convincing because they're so important, prestigious, Beliefs sound like just even the word, but saying you have these beliefs sounds true, sounds strong, and it sounds safe. It sounds like something you can count on. It sounds like something that you shouldn't worry about, And beliefs also feel like a part of us that makes us complete. And I feel like that's like one of the most dangerous parts of it. You feel so complete and fulfilled by this belief that you have when really you don't see how it's just ripping everything apart in silence, and soon you'll feel the pain. Soon. I don't know when, but eventually. And that's really tough. So you can see how it can get really confusing and unsure when we discover that our beliefs are actually lies that we need to let go. It's tough. It's not easy. I feel like the hardest part is realizing these things are lies. And then when you do accept that as truth, then you're like, okay, now it's easier to move forward and figure out, okay, what do we need to do? Let's work on this. Let's like push past this. Let's grow our mindset. We're in it. And then you're off like the wind. So, But here are 7 lies that we tell ourselves that I want to share with you today. If you've ever looked up like the lies that we tell ourselves or anything like that, there is a very specific list of those things. And it was written in a book, and a lot of people will quote it and reference it. And I believe there's 12 of them. And, today I'm telling you 7 ones that like a couple of them are similar to that list, and other ones are very different because I want it to be more abstract always. I always want to be a little bit different than just the general information that you could easily find on the internet. However, before we jump into the list, as always, I want to tell you this disclaimer that all of this is based on my own research and experience and the experiences of others that I can share. If you find that the list, then the knowledge that I'm providing with you today is not beneficial or does not align with what you believe is true, then please talk to a therapist or a counselor, or just do that anyway, even if you believe or don't. And you can also just go to your best friend Google and type in, what lies do we tell ourselves, and see if information on the internet aligns better than what I'm about to share with you. Okay, let's jump in. So, 7 lies we tell ourselves. The first one is that we need approval and validation for everything that we do. I'm not kidding. I was literally talking to my therapist about this today. I was telling him flat out that, I struggle so much with validation and needing validation from others when I know that I don't need it, that it's wrong, that it's not necessary for me to be happy and be content and fulfilled with the things that I'm doing and the way that I'm doing it, right? And my brain goes even a step deeper that I was thinking about today outside of therapy was, when I was thinking about it in therapy as well too, but I was thinking, what if I'm living a life where no one is telling me the truth? And part of the reason why I'm always wanting validation is to make sure that people are telling me the truth. Because if they're lying to me, then I'm like constantly worrying if I'm actually doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing or if that is correct, right? If they're just enabling me and just being like, oh, it's fine when it's really not fine. My brain just like goes on a whirlwind tornado of thoughts like that. And so I get caught up in being like, well, validation is my only way. Approval is the only way for me to know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or I'm doing it correctly, or whatever. But it's a lie, because we don't need approval. We don't need validation. We don't. And the less that we feel we need it, the better off we are, because if we're only doing things to get the approval of validation of others, then that isn't true to our heart and true to who we are and our passions and our purpose for living on this earth. Okay? So we don't need approval. We don't need a validation. It's nice when we get those things, especially when we're not out here asking for it. It is amazing. It is a cherry on top. It is chef's kiss. It is everything. But we don't need it. We don't have to continually seek it. It is a lie. And if you do find out later that people would not have validated what you did and they would not have approved, it doesn't matter. Because if it made you happy and content and you felt good about it, that's all that matters. Their opinion is based on what you telling them what happened, and then them deciding, oh, is this good or not? It's ridiculous. So, first lie, I need approval and validation for everything I do. You do not. Number 2, my emotions are caused by external events. My emotions are caused by external events. This is a flat out lie. I know that there are many people online that would disagree with me. I know it without a shadow of a doubt. And the reason I know this to be true is also the reason why the podcast episode that was launched earlier this week, the one right before this one, is all about how you can take responsibility for your emotions, because we are all responsible for our emotions. So if you struggle with that and would like to know how you can start taking responsibility for your own emotions, just, go back to that episode. It will fill you in. It's really great. I know I created it, but I feel very confident about it. I was very excited to make it because it is a piece of knowledge that people struggle with a lot. A lot. And it was very important to me to do that and to talk about it more online. And the couple times that I have brought it up online, I always get people that push back and say, no, you're wrong. And I tell them, I'm sorry. Science says otherwise. Research says otherwise. Data says otherwise. It's just, so anyway, if you need more help with that, one episode back. But in this case, my emotions are caused by external events. This is a lie because you are responsible for your own emotions. So whether you are happy or sad or depressed or anxious, worried, concerned, whatever the emotion is, it is not necessarily caused by external events. However, those events could have triggered that emotion. But when it's all said and done, you still have a choice of how you respond or react in every single situation in your entire life, okay? And you get better at that, responding appropriately to the situation by practicing and reminding yourself that you get a choice. This is a hard thing for people to accept, and that's fine. There's so many things that a lot of us struggle to accept. And it's because we're so caught up in our own opinions, our own biases, everything that we know, as opposed to widening our perspective and taking a step out of our own perspective to look around and see what else could be true. So anyway, let's rope it back in at Tangent City over there. Your emotions are caused by external events. They are not. Your emotions are caused by whatever you decide to respond with, react with, whatever emotion. So it's anger and you slap someone across the face, or it's sadness and you decide to cry and run away, or and listen. Minus the slapping the face thing. These are like, how I am sometimes. And whatever it is, you have decided that that is the way that you're going to respond or react in that situation because you're the only one in control of your emotions. Okay? Want to learn more about that? Click back one episode. I promise it'll break it down even more. Let's move on. Number 3, I have to match the mood of others. This one, oh my goodness. I have to match the mood of others. I used to live and breathe and die by this lie. I have to match the mood of others. And I honestly didn't break this bad mindset and disengage from this lie until recently, until I don't know, the last 6 months, maybe a year. It's because often when you're a people pleaser or you're an empath, you will adopt the mood of whomever you are with because it's kind of like solidarity and showing them that you're respecting how they feel and you don't want to feel better than them and then make them feel worse. It's this whole game in your brain. But you do not have to match the mood of others. If you are in a happy, joyful mood and someone else is in a nasty, grumpy mood, you don't have to be grumpy just because they're grumpy. You don't have to tone your happiness and joy down just because they are not currently where you are right now. You don't have to do any of those things. You do not have to match the mood of others. And if you're having a crappy, grumpy day and you're sad and someone else is just bouncing off the walls happy, you do not have to be happy just because they are happy. And if they say, hey, you should just be happy, let my happiness be contagious to you, or they're like, oh, just be happy and grateful, or just get over it because it's fine. No. If you're in a mood, be in a mood. Okay? Be in whatever mood that you want to be in, and then they can be whatever mood they want to be in. And people need to learn to respect other people's boundaries. That's a personal boundary of you get to choose how you feel. And if you're happy and they're sad, that's on them. Whatever they're going through, whatever they're struggling with, that is on them. So you do not have to match the mood of others. It is not rude to still be happy when someone is going through a struggle. I would say, don't be overly sunshiny if you find out that someone's best friend just passed away or something. And you're all like, well, but the sun is shining and life is great and I'm so happy. No, it's you could tone it back a little bit. Just a little bit. But still be still be if you're full of joy and happiness, you're going to exude positive energy, whether you like it or not. and it's going to be great. It's going to be great for them. So you don't have to go all the way down to 0. Maybe you mail it out in the middle a little bit just to be respectful of how they're feeling, but you don't need to match their mood because it's very unfair to you. It also enables them for whatever mood they're in and for them to have the expectation, maybe not, depends, that people should match their mood, and that makes them more comfortable. But that's not your responsibility. Okay, number 4. Number 4, I have to avoid making mistakes and experiencing failures. I have to avoid making mistakes and experiencing failures. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'll say it all the time. Mistakes and failures are one of the best learning lessons ever. I'm telling you, it's not fun in the moment. Of course not. Ugh, it's the worst. Maybe not the worst, but it's not great. But when you reflect back on those mistakes that you made and the failures that you did experience, you will be able to learn lessons. You'll be able to glean knowledge from that and use that going forward. Use it in the future. And that's great. And again, it's not fun going through those things in the moment, but they're so helpful. So don't avoid making mistakes and experiencing failures. Yes, we all want to do our best, but you don't have to beat yourself down super hard if you do make a mistake or you do experiencing a failure, because you're going to learn a lot from it. And then you're going to take that knowledge and you're going to move forward and not let that thing hold you back and not constantly hide in your comfort zone so that you don't have the possibility of making any mistakes or experiencing failures. So that's a lie, because you don't need to avoid them. Just live your life and get through them as they come. I'm telling you. Number 5, I have no control over my life. I have no control over my life. This screams victim mentality. It really does. When you say that you have no control over your life and this is just the cards that you were dealt and there's nothing you can do, you sound like a straight up victim. I'm telling you, you can't. I mean, you can. Take that back. You shouldn't. You do have control over your life, okay? You do. You get to choose if you're going to get off your butt and go change your attitude. If you're going to go try to follow your dreams again, if you're going to change course in your journey and whatever your dreams and goals are. You know, you don't have to be heartbroken for the rest of your life just because someone you care about you broke up with recently, right? You got let go from a job, you got to find another job. You got to do what you can. You can't just let life happen to you and then expect your amount of complaining and feeling sad for yourself and being a victim is going to change anything. It's not going to do anything. It'll probably actually hurt you more than it ever could do anything for you, because it's just continuing to get you stuck in that pit of despair that you are having the best time sitting in. So you do have control of your life. You just have to take control and do what you can. Continue to push through and not give up. Sometimes we have to take a pause because it's too much and we're tired and we need to refuel. Please do that. And then get back to what we need to do. You do have control. You do have control of your life. Number 6 of 7. Number 6, my problems don't matter as much as other problems. My problems don't matter as much as other problems. Everyone's problems matter. Don't we just love the cute little first world problems? I use it all the time because it actually is a way for me to, be funny and sarcastic, which I adore, but to also acknowledge the fact that this is a first world problem. And if I wasn't handling it right now, it would be perfectly fine, right? And it reminds me to be grateful for what I have, because I'm like, oh, well, just because I'm not able to get this really fancy mirror doesn't mean that life's going to be over if I don't get it. I just won't get it and life will be fine. But, if I get it, I'll be grateful that I was able to get it. If I don't, I'm grateful that I still have whatever else to set up my room or whatever it is you're doing. I immediately thought of setting up a new office or something like that. That's why I said mirror. And because that's my dream, to get a bigger mirror. so I could take like cute little photos, right? That might sound very like very like all about myself. It is. And that's fine because I like to take cute photos when I'm wearing cute outfits. It's fine. So, but your problems don't matter as much as other problems. Everyone's problems matter. Okay? Yes, you can acknowledge that you're having a quote unquote first world problem because it's not a problem that everyone deals with or someone would deal with in a third world country. And so, you could acknowledge it as a problem or not. But let's say you're having a real problem. Let's say that you're battling like daily migraines, the worst, right? But then you downplay your own problems because you're like, well, that person is suffering from cancer. So my problems don't matter as much as their problems. Like me having a migraine every day is not as bad as that person having to go to chemo however many times during the week and deal with all that pain and discomfort that they're going through. Now, I feel like in the hierarchy, like not a real hierarchy, but like when you were kind of like, mapping out, really bad problems to like medium problems to small problems to teeny tiny problems, like whatever, everything's a problem. It's just that, yeah, having like cancer and dealing with chemo and all that stuff, yeah, it's harder. I would say it's harder than dealing with a migraine. However, that does not discount your problem just because their problem might be harder if you actually like widen your perspective and thought about it. Because it's going to take more work, more time, more money, and more things away from you because it's a really difficult thing. In comparison to your problem, migraines every day, maybe it doesn't take as much away from you, but maybe it does. And maybe you have more kids than this person who is suffering from cancer. And so, you have more people to watch over. And that migraine every day is debilitating because, it might cause you like the worst pain in your head. And you might have like moments where you maybe black out in one eye or where you get just so tired that you have to go lay down in the dark room or you have to do this, that, and the other. And sure, maybe you won't die from your migraine and that person with cancer might die from cancer, but it still doesn't negate the fact that you have a problem that you need to solve that's important to you and your current season of life. And it still matters, okay? There's not an actual list of like, this is the worst problem followed by all these problems. You do need to have perspective of understanding, like, if you like to tell people about your problems a lot, I would maybe tone it back a little bit. And not because they don't deserve to be heard. It's just, you don't want to just be going airing all your problems and grievances all over the world. It's just, to everyone, it's just not helpful and it's too much. And it also is a very big indicator of your struggle with your personal insecurities. So my problems don't matter as much as other problems. That is a lie. They do. They matter just as much and more to you. And that's what matters because it's happening to you and something else is happening to someone else. And that's most important to them. And that is fine because we're all dealing with our own problems. And everyone's problems are important problems. Okay, number 7 and the last one. I don't have enough fill in the blank. So this could be like, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough friends. I don't have a car. I don't have enough time after work. Right? I don't have, whatever restaurant in your town to eat at that you really want to eat at. I used to be so mad about that growing up. I grew up in Anchorage, Alaska. And I remember, this is a tangent, yes, and it's going to be a quick one. I would like watch TV and when commercials came on, because yes, this is also the era where everyone was watching cable with commercials. That's what normal life was. And I would see commercials for Red Lobster, for a Red Lobster. And you know what we didn't have in Anchorage, Alaska when I was growing up between 1985 and the year that I left, 2004? We didn't have a Red Lobster. I would get so angry. There was also like another steakhouse. I forget what it's called. Not Sizzler. We had a Sizzler in town. That place was bomb. Okay, I don't care what anyone says. But there was like a steakhouse that we didn't have Outback. We didn't have an Outback. That's what it was. And I would get so annoyed every time I see those commercials. Especially, I got so like bitter about it the summer before I went to college because I knew I was moving out of state to somewhere that had these restaurants. And I was like, I'm going to go eat up in there for all this time that I missed out on being a child, getting these national commercials, and we don't have that restaurant. It bothered the crap out of me. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, I was always like, oh. And then when I finally did eat it at Outback, I liked it. I don't know if it's because now. I heard now it's not as great. And then I did eat it at a Red Lobster, and I really liked it. Like when I was, younger adult. Now, not so much. It's like food poisoning for sure, for me at least. My experience after eating at a Red Lobster was food poisoning. But that's not going to be everyone's experience. I just want to put that out there so Red Lobster doesn't come after me. So anyway, number 7 is I don't have enough. So you might not have enough time. You might not have enough money. You might not have enough people in your life. You might not have enough. You feel like you don't have enough love or whatever it is. This is a lie because your basis for thinking that you do not have enough is more often than not based on a comparison to someone else. And comparing yourself is probably a list in that list of like the most dangerous games you can play with yourself. That should be an episode. Should that be an episode? Let me know. Should that be an episode? I think so. Because comparison would be there, and jealousy and envy would be there, and believing lies would be there. So many things would be there. Okay, but so it's all because of comparison. You don't think you have enough because this other person seems to have the right amount, or you haven't been able to accomplish the things that you want to do in your life or live your life the way you want to, and you think it's because you don't have enough this, that, and the other. I used to all the time, I would say to my husband, I don't have enough time to do this. And after a while, he would say to me, well, you need to make time. And I know you can't actually make time, but you can be more efficient with your time. You can decide to dedicate less time to some things to dedicate more time to other things. And I know there's going to be people out there that are like, no, Sabrina, all my time is taken up. I don't have time. I'm going to say that I don't believe you. I know that's harsh. I just don't. I've seen some of the business people in the entire world figure out how to add in things if it's important enough. And I feel like that's the key. When you say that you don't have enough time, you don't have enough money, you don't have enough people, you don't have enough, friggin' Red Lobsters in your town, it's because you're not trying hard enough to figure out how to get those things, and you don't care enough to put into action and do the work. For me, I put in the action by going to a freaking town that had the college I wanted to go to that also had a Red Lobster. Or you say, I don't have enough money. Okay, well, can you find another way to make more money? Or can you find another way to do what you want to do without needing that money? Can you find another way around it? You don't have time? Okay, well, what are you using your time for right now that actually isn't necessary or could be delegated to someone else? Right? Right. Maybe you're like, oh, I don't have enough space where I live. Okay, well, is everything that you own absolutely necessary? And you have to be really honest with yourself with this question, because immediately most of us can be like, no, I don't have anything, unnecessary. No, we all do. We all do. And so if you're like, I don't have enough space to do this, that, and the other, you can find a little corner to clear out to make space for you to do that. Let's say you want to start a podcast. Let's say that you wanted to film YouTube videos. Let's say that you wanted to work from home and you needed a clean background for you to do that, right? Let's say that you wanted to be a model and take pictures of yourself so that you in cute outfits and stuff. You can find a way. You can find a way to make that work. In the podcast thing, when I first was starting my podcast, I heard so many people talk about how they did not have access to even a closet that they could record in so that it would be quiet. So a lot of people would just record underneath blankets. I think I've recorded underneath the blanket before. And you just make it work. You just make it work, right? So when you say I don't have enough whatever, enough fill in the blank, it's a lie because you can make room. You can figure out how to get enough. You can figure out another way to do it without that enough. If it's important enough to you, and if you're willing to put in the time and the action and the care enough to execute a plan to figure it out. So that's why it's a lie. I know there's going to be some people that disagree. That's fine. That's your right. It is your right to disagree, and that's fine. But I'm just telling you, based on my own research, you can figure it out. You can. If you're honest enough with yourself, you can figure it out. You can figure it out. You might have to give up something else. You might need to ask for help, call in favors. But you can figure it out. I promise you. But that is all 7. That is all 7 of the lies that we tell ourselves every day. On the regular, not every day. You know what I mean? I'm just being overly generalized. But that's it. That's all I have to say about that. So thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. Again, with me, Sabrina. Check the show notes below for a link for my weekly newsletter, to vent anonymously, to suggest a topic anonymously, to follow me on social media, send me an email. RSVP for the planner that is coming out very soon. It's going to the printers next week. Woo woo. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you follow me on Instagram, I am showing previews of the planner in my stories. And I just realized I should probably make a highlight for that so people can go back to it. But check that out. So anyway, check out all that stuff below. I will talk to you soon. Have a good one. And I will see y'all next time. Bye.